Rutgers quarterback Johnny Langan, shout out to Bergen Catholic, completed 5 passes against Indiana on Saturday for 1 yard. That's Kyle, I'm Colby, and this is Bootleg. Today's opener was brought to you by our very own Kyle Brackey. We're going to aim for a little better yards per completion on this show.
Yeah. I think even if you and I, just like, let's say we went to a Rutgers game, all the quarterbacks got hurt, and we were in the stands.
First of all, low point in our life.
Oh, yeah,
we're
for
just
sure.
randomly in Piscataway and decided to go to okay.
Rutgers, Indiana, yeah. They call us out of the stands. I'm going to complete a pass. It's going to be for more than 1 yard.
Wow.
Bet.
You heard it here first.
It won't even take me 5 attempts.
Okay. How many pass attempts will it take you to complete one pass for more than 1 yard?
Honestly, 1, because you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to snap the ball, and I'm going to immediately throw it to a wide receiver that is standing on the line of scrimmage, and he's going to fall forward for more than a yard. How is this possible? I need to watch this game so I can go back. You know how many times you see that? Quarterbacks take the snap, they immediately throw it
boom,
to a wide receiver, and it's like 3-4 yard gain guaranteed every time.
Every time. I like the play call.
Yeah.
I like the play call. I'm a little less confident in my abilities. I feel like I'd have, first of all, got to get the arm loose.
Okay.
So I'm going to have to leave Johnny in there for a few more series while I get the arm warmed up. And then I think it's going to take me 4 or 5 plays to get settled in.
I believe in you. I
but
think
then
you could do it.
I'm going sluggo. Because they're going to think I'm going to take the easy one. But really, I'm going over the top.
I like that.
Touchdown Rutgers.
Put them to sleep.
That was the fewest passing yards in a game since the year 2000. That's when Memphis went from -3 against Marshall. The FBS record for fewest passing yards in a game is -16. That was our very own Richmond Spiders against VMI in the year 1957.
We'll edit that out.
Yeah, you want to take that out?
Yeah, we'll take that.
Okay.
No, I'm just kidding.
Efren, take that out.
No, he doesn't need to take it out. I'm just joking.
Rutgers has been shut out more than any other team in the Big Ten since 2000. 10 shutouts. Yeah. And despite being in the conference since just 2014.
That's not good.
So I made that confusing. That's 10 shutouts since 14.
Yeah.
But that's more than any other team in the last 19 years.
Yeah, that's unbelievably bad. They were all getting, a bunch of the Rutgers fans were getting all fired up on Twitter the other day, and the Rutgers wrestling coach Scott Goodale was trying to calm them down.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
How'd that go?
Not great. The one guy made some sarcastic comment that they should listen. He's like, oh, yeah, let's listen to the wrestling coach. He gets paid to coach wrestling. And I told him you should probably listen to him because he's the only one winning anything around there.
Boom. He's got billboards.
He does. He has national champs.
Indirectly, but he has billboards.
Yeah.
I didn't really mean to start the show with Rutgers. Just kind of fell into that.
It's all right. This is a good Rutgers corner.
You had the most interesting stat that I'd heard all week, so I figured that was a good place to begin. We may be short on the show today. Kyle was late for one thing.
I was.
After he talked me into actually doing it for another thing. And then the whole guest thing got kind of weird on me. May have a guest separate from the show. May just save him for next week because I think his team is going to pull an upset this week.
Okay.
You heard it here first. In any case, bad job by me, but we will have plenty of FCS talk. We will have a little bootleg bowl talk.
Yeah.
What
Unfortunately.
else? We will touch on that, though. We have to touch on that. And, of course, we'll make some picks. Mine will probably suck. His will probably be good if we continue on our current trajectory. So if you want to, just take my picks and then go do the opposite. Boom. You make money. You're welcome. It's reverse psychology.
Fade them.
Before we do any of that, I want to get right to the thing that you're most impassioned about today.
Yeah.
And likely the thing that saved the show, which is your, how do you say it?
Overreaction.
Nailed it.
Yes.
You have one. It's a big one.
I always second guess myself with that. But anyways, mine is that Georgia and Kirby Smart and whoever else made the decision, but they messed up going with Jake Fromm over Justin Fields. And it's not an easy decision to make. I get that. But we've seen 2 coaches do it in the past 2 years. and they've won a national title because of it.
Yeah.
And obviously 2 years ago, it was Nick Saban pulling Jalen Hurts at halftime and putting in Tua. And you could argue he should have done it earlier in the season.
You could definitely argue. But, again, he had the winningest quarterback in the SEC.
Exactly, and that's the problem is Jake Fromm continues to win and not really lose you games. He doesn't lose you games because obviously Georgia doesn't lose very many games.
Correct.
But he's also not this generational talent.
Not necessarily the reason why they're winning.
Right.
Defense is a good reason. Running game, great reason.
Yeah.
Quarterback play, not, like you said, not a reason for the win, but also not going to hurt you until he does.
Until he does, which he did Saturday against South Carolina. And then last year, Dabo Swinney makes a call 4 games into the season.
Yeah, that was the craziest one.
And is like, listen, I could probably get to the college football playoff with Kelly Bryant. We did it last year. I can't win a national title with Kelly Bryant.
And ultimately, that's what we talked about yesterday. That's the thing. Clemson, Dabo had the courage to know that he, without making a move, was a college football playoff team with Kelly Bryant. You're never going to get fired for going to the college football playoff.
No.
That is a safe area to live. And Kelly was also a senior.
Yep.
So he was cool to ride that out. Trevor Lawrence wasn't going anywhere. It wasn't like he was going to get mad and transfer right before he's going to start as a sophomore.
Yeah.
So there wasn't necessarily a lot of pressure on Dabo. Nobody would have really faulted him if he doesn't go to Lawrence. But he does. Shakes everything up. Kelly Bryant ends up leaving the program. But he did that because his commitment was not to getting to the playoff, winning the league. His commitment was to winning a national title. And I think that's where Kirby Smart may have been caught playing it a little safe with Jake Fromm. Jake Fromm wasn't. I mean, look, I don't live in the Georgia football office, but Jacob Eason was a starter, not Fromm. Eason gets hurt, Fromm takes over. Fromm does really well. He was a surprise, kind of a revelation, and everybody raves about his leadership skills, and I don't doubt it. But you go from Fromm, kind of an afterthought, behind Eason, takes over, nice surprise. Then you get Justin Fields to Georgia. Biggest recruiting win of the Kirby Smart era. But they're only 1 year apart.
Yeah.
So the amount of courage it took for Dabo to go to Kelly Bryant or go from Kelly Bryant to Trevor, I don't even think that it would have taken that much gumption for Smart to go from Fromm to Fields because you know it had to happen at some point. The day that he signed the letter of intent, you know at some point down the road I'm going to have to make a difficult decision with my quarterback here. But Fromm, like Bryant, was good enough to get Georgia to the playoff.
Yeah, exactly.
And Smart was cool with that. Dabo was not cool with that. So now in being cool with that, your boy Justin Fields is at The Ohio State University.
He is, yeah.
They look like they might be the best team in the country. And Georgia's out here losing 20-17 to South Carolina at home.
Yeah. And I guess the thing for me is Dabo clearly saw something in Lawrence, whether it was in practice when he got in, he played all the games leading up to that point too at some point in them. Whatever it was, he saw that in him and was like, this guy.
Yeah.
He's the answer. You can't tell me that Georgia and Kirby Smart didn't see the exact same thing with Justin Fields.
Well, I mean, you asked the question yesterday. Was Smart not playing Fields because he didn't want to walk into a quarterback controversy? He felt like by not playing him, the fans couldn't see him.
Yeah.
All Fromm does is win.
He got in mop-up time, and so he was 27-39, 328 yards, 4 touchdowns last year. That's really good, just getting in mop-up time. That's the same completion percentage that he has through like 6 games this year.
So
I don't know. He's
you're
just
telling me that the sample size scaled.
Yes, it did, and he didn't even run when he was in those games, and now.
Well, there was that one fake punt.
Yeah, that was bad. Okay, I lied. 42 attempts, 266 yards, and another 4 touchdowns rushing. So like you see what you have there. And it is something that has Georgia ever had a dual threat quarterback?
Quincy Carter.
Okay. But not like Justin Fields
Justin
level.
Fields.
No. And I don't know how you can sit there and just I guess I understand how you can, but at some point you have to look at what has happened the past 2 years and look at this dynamic player that you have and just have the courage, for lack of a better word, to make the decision and take your team to the next level. And I think that's what Justin Fields would have done.
Fromm was 20-0 against unranked opponents going into the game on Saturday. He had never lost at home. Is Georgia still Georgia? Are they last year's Georgia? Can they bounce back? Can they win out? Are they done?
They're not last year's Georgia because they can't run the ball as well as they did last year.
They also have a bunch of freshmen on the outside.
Yes, they I'm slipping on his name. The Miami grad transfer, Cager, I think is his name.
Cager's out there.
He's the best one, though. That's my point. Is like we thought what we saw from like George Pickens in the spring that he would emerge.
Mm-hmm.
He hasn't. And there's the wide receivers aren't getting open. They're not opening. Jake Fromm threw the ball 51 times against South Carolina. Georgia's supposed to have one of the best offensive lines in the country, and it just has not been the same this year as it was last year. And you have these uber talented backs, and they can't get free.
That's the thing, is like we talk about them not having a running game. It's not because they don't have talent in that backfield.
Right.
I mean, between James Cook and Zaire White, they have back-to-back, or I guess same class, number 1 and number 2 running back in the class.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we'd have to get Gunter on here to give you some real perspective on Georgia.
I know he's probably not going to like this a lot. And Kirby's in-game decision-making has been questioned for a long time. The national championship game, the fake punt, even against Notre Dame, kicking that field goal late instead of going for it, that kind of would have put the game away. Instead, Notre Dame had a possession with the chance to win. And then in regulation, not giving Rodrigo a chance to kick the field goal and making some questionable play calls down the stretch in regulation. But this goes right in with it. This is a coaching decision. Decisions are not easy.
Decision, yeah.
Right, they're not easy, but you have to be able to identify the talent that's going to help your team win best. And like you said, Jake Fromm is not bad. He's not a bad quarterback. He's a very good quarterback, but he's not going to – Georgia's not going to win a national title with Jake Fromm as their quarterback. I said it.
I'm going to take it a step farther. Was Fromm the right choice at any point?
No, I don't think he was.
Because if you look at Jacob Eason in the year he's having at Washington, and you look at Justin Fields in the year he's having at Georgia, I mean, Jacob Eason, I'm trying to pull up his game log here. I need ESPN.com to work with me a little better.
So you're going all the way back to...
I'm saying Jacob Eason gets hurt, you go to Fromm, you never come back to Eason. Nobody cares because you keep winning games.
Right.
I'm saying, did he even make the right call in going to Fromm and never coming back to Eason? And then sticking with Fromm and never going to Fields. What I'm asking is, does Kirby Smart have a Jake Fromm problem? Which sounds crazy to say because everybody loves Jake Fromm. But all Eason's done, save for the Stanford game, which was real ugly, is win games at Washington and look dynamic. Justin Fields looks uber dynamic. Fromm looks like Greg McElroy with the Jets.
Yeah, you look at Eason's stats so far at Washington on a team that is not as good as Georgia. He's thrown for 300 more yards, 4 more touchdowns, same amount of picks.
I mean, I watched the Washington BYU game at great length. I don't know why I got stuck on that game, but I did. And Eason was, I don't know why, man. He was just so impressive. Like, just far exceeded my expectations of what he would ultimately be.
I think we'd be speaking a lot more about him if they didn't have that fluky game against Stanford for whatever reason.
Yeah, well, that doesn't really help my argument here. So if we could just gloss over that, that'd be good.
I'm saying, like, we'd be talking about how much more impressive Eason has been at Washington.
No, I agree. Yeah, no, I agree. I think, if you want to talk NFL prospect, obviously Eason, far bigger prospect than Fromm. Yeah. Not to beat a dead horse, I love Georgia. For the record, I have nothing but love for the Bulldogs and their mascot, Uga, which is not to be confused with Uga. And I can see a path to winning out.
There's still...
Because it's still Georgia, but there are some very, very real concerns.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
For the first time in a while, I think.
I mean, a number of people were picking them to win the national title this year. But I think they'll get to the SEC championship game. But I don't see them beating Alabama or LSU, whoever it is.
No. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No.
So.
Okay, so admittedly, I kind of mailed it in this week because I knew you had one that we would go at some length on. But I do want to double down on a previous overreaction, which is that National Championship number 8 is headed for Norman, Oklahoma. Jalen was not amazing on Saturday.
No.
He wasn't even great. He was very good,
Mm-hmm.
particularly between the 20s. Matter of fact, he was phenomenal between the 20s. Inside the old 20-yard line, multiple issues arose, several critical turnovers. Going in. I mean, a pick in the end zone, a fumble as, I don't know, what he's at, like the 10 going in.
Yeah, finishing off like a 30-yard gain.
Yeah, which was awesome until that part.
Yeah.
In years past, that would have broken Oklahoma because both of those turnovers would have turned into Texas touchdowns because the defense could not respond after a turnover. In fact, I have numbers to back up that claim. They allowed 8 touchdowns on 13 drives after an offensive turnover last year.
That's not good.
That's very bad.
Yeah.
They didn't allow anything on either one of those drives. Texas had to punt before they even got to the OU 40. So, a defense that'll respond. What I say before the game, this is the week that we're going to find out if this defense is a real thing or not. That defense is a real thing. Kenneth Murray is a real thing. Kenneth Murray is a Butkus Award candidate for real.
I don't know how many times I said watching that game, like, holy crap, Kenneth Murray is really good. He covers so much ground.
He's unbelievable, dude. He's going to be a star on Sundays.
Yep.
It is so refreshing to see him in a defense that allows him to be the player that he could have been the entire time. It's also frustrating to look back the last 2 years in retrospect and be like, we pretty much have the same personnel defensively, and they were god-awful to the extent that you wasted Baker Mayfield and Kyler Murray. So it's cool this year to, like, watch them play, and their defense is complementary to the offense. But it does make you think, man, if Alex Grinch had been in Norman for 17 and 18, they could be going for national title number 8, 9, 10 and third in a row. Maybe that's a little hyperbole, but, I mean, you're talking about 2 of the greatest offensive years in the history of college football, and you just couldn't stop.
You couldn't stop Georgia, and you couldn't stop Alabama. So, yeah.
So that got depressing quick. But the point is, this year, this is the year, number 8.
What was so impressive was, I mean, they just completely shut Sam Ehlinger down. 9 sacks. 9 sacks, that's ridiculous. And then he wasn't a factor running the ball either, which can be a problem sometimes when the pocket breaks down. He just takes off. But they did a good job of keeping him in the pocket. And Murray was a nice little spy there, and a few times just shutting Ehlinger down with short gains.
Yeah, get out of here.
So, yeah, it would have ended up being a 7-point game. It never felt that close.
Well, so that's what I told you when when LSU came to Austin to play Texas. The final score looks like that was a really tight game, but if you actually watch the game, you saw LSU control the majority of the game, especially in the second half.
They were up 14 at halftime. They were up 14 the majority of the second half.
Yeah. I mean, there was never a point where you were worried about LSU. Even as Texas is attempting the onside kick, you're not really worried about LSU. Same thing in the Oklahoma game. There's never a point where you didn't feel like Oklahoma's in complete control of this game. They outgained Texas at 4 yards per play. That's a massive advantage.
It's ridiculous.
So, I mean, Texas is what they are, which is the same thing that they've been for the last couple of years. They're no different. They're no better. Get Ehlinger off the cover of the magazines, please. Like, I don't even think that they're the 3rd or 4th best offense in the Big 12.
They had Texas football had a ridiculous post before the season even started. It was Vince Young, Colt McCoy, and Sam Ehlinger, like, photoshopped together.
Yeah, I know.
And it was like, what do you think these goats are talking about? Like, what? No, Sam Ehlinger is not in the category of Colt McCoy and Vince Young.
Like, to me, that is so disrespectful of what Colt McCoy was to college football, of what Vince Young was to college football. Like, Colt McCoy is one of the, I don't know, we'll say 15 to play it safe here because I don't know off the top of my head, best college quarterbacks
he's probably top
I've
10.
Ever seen.
Yeah, and Vince Young's top 3, depending on how you want to rank them there.
The touchdown run against USC will forever be, like, an on-demand memory in my head. Like that's one of the greatest plays in the history of college football. And I mean, there was also, you know what? I don't even want to go down the rabbit hole because like Vince Young's plays are just the highlight reel just plays in your head.
The one that sticks out to me is the pump fake against Oklahoma State, and he got that guy in the air, and then he ran 75 yards for a touchdown.
Yeah, you brought up the Oklahoma State game. That's kind of where I was going to begin the rabbit hole. The Oklahoma State did this thing the whole time VY was at Texas where they would jump out to an early lead.
Yeah.
And then Vince would just rip their heart out.
Well, you know what his strategy was? He said this on Pardon My Take.
I don't know.
Yeah, first half, just chill.
Oh, okay, chill.
Second half, go the F off.
Okay.
He literally said that was like in his mind. Like, play it cool, do what you got to do in the first half. Second half, go the F off.
Go nuts.
Yeah.
Got it. All right. Maybe more people should try that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, man. I mean, I think the Oklahoma State offense is better than the Texas offense. I think the Baylor offense is better than the Texas offense. Hail W, but they're not better than the Texas offense.
It was 21-14 going into the fourth quarter. That is all I will say.
Okay. You know what? Great segue.
We had them right where we wanted. You let them off the hook.
You got Oklahoma this week. How's that going to go?
I wish we could forfeit. This is the big noon Saturday kickoff. Why? Who made this decision? Why? Whoever made this decision hates West Virginia and just wants them to get embarrassed. Because we're probably going to Norman with Jack Allison as our quarterback. Jack freaking Allison. And we're probably going to start 5 true freshmen on defense, including 3 in the secondary. So, CeeDee Lamb, Charleston Rambo, and Theo Weiss. And is Trajan Bridges even playing offense anymore? Because sometimes he plays defense. He's bringing him back to offense this week, and he's scoring a touchdown. Jaden Hazelwood's scoring a touchdown. Everybody's scoring touchdowns.
Everybody's scoring touchdowns.
I told you yesterday, I wish that we could forfeit this game and just be like, hey, Lincoln, what do you want to say the final score is so we can, like, put it out on social media and put it on, like, our schedule page.
Just be like, sorry, the camera's all broke.
Yeah, you choose the score. And Lincoln's like, we'll go with 100. Cool. Done. Because we are so beat up right now. It was already a very not deep team. We're already playing a lot of young guys, which I'm actually fine with because the team's going to be really good in a few years because they really seem like they're buying in to what Neil Brown and the coaching staff is preaching. And there is a lot of talent there. Shout out Dana Holgerson, which the whole fan base doesn't want to give any credit to, but he's the one that recruited him. But there's just no depth, and your best corner has 3 picks on the year, didn't play last week, probably not going to play this week. Austin Kendall, who's the best quarterback on the roster, and, is probably looking forward to getting to play Norman, is not 100% and should not play if he is not 100% against that defense. Mm-mm. Let's forfeit this week. We get a bye week, and then let's get it together and go win 3 of our last 5 and go to a daggum bowl.
Man, I'm just replaying Austin Kendall shouldn't play if he's not healthy against that defense in my head over and over again. It's been so long since anybody referred to that defense in a positive light.
Well, I just watched him kick Sam Ellinger's ass for 60 minutes, so I'd rather them not injure Austin Kendall for the rest of the year. Although, I think Jack Allison will play on Saturday. They have a plan now. Because, so last week...
Well, do tell, into the microphone.
Yeah, last week, Iowa State runs a very unique defense. And they had this whole game plan for it, and we immediately go out and get a few first downs. They end up stopping us, and then Kendall gets hurt on the 3rd down. But we'd move the ball for a few first downs. And then Kendall gets hurt, and Jack Allison comes in, and Neil Brown said after the game, he's like, he took maybe like 5% of the snaps all week because we're installing this new game plan, and you obviously want your ones to have all the reps. So we literally just went back to vanilla. And you saw it like throughout the game. They ran like the same play a lot. This little jailbreak screen to Sam James and this delayed draw.
But he didn't break out of jail?
No, he didn't. It was like 5 or 6 yards out of jail.
You hate to see it.
And then would get tackled.
You would have watched Prison Break.
Yeah.
It would have helped. Great show.
He broke out of jail against NC State. It worked that game. But anyways, they asked him if they thought if Jack Allison had to go Saturday, if he'd be more prepared. And he said, yeah, of course, he's going to get more reps this week. But we also have a plan at quarterback. And I'm not going to sit up here and tell you guys this.
Oh.
Yeah.
secrets.
And also, I don't know why this always happens. 2 years ago, Will Greer's almost lost his dang pinky on the field. And then the next week,
That's unfortunate.
And then the next week we had to go to Norman with Chris Chugginoff as our quarterback, and we literally just ran out of Wildcat with Kennedy McCoy like 90% of the time, and he ran for like 200 yards, but we still lost by 40. So that was awesome. So our quarterbacks just always get hurt right before we go to Norman, which is not the best recipe. I think the spread's like 34. You should take Oklahoma.
Oh, okay.
I'm 100% serious.
All right. Well, my picks probably suck anyway, so add that to my cover for just in case.
Take Oklahoma.
Oklahoma.
We are not going to.
We will lay the 34.
You are going to. You can score whatever you want to score. If you want to score 70, you could score it. Guarantee it. We are not going to score enough to cover that.
Okay. All right.
But you know what? Whatever. It's a great day to watch West Virginia football anytime they play.
Well, if we can talk Livia out of baby class, then you guys can come over and I can gloat right in front of you.
Yeah,
face
it'll be glorious.
You know what though? I'll call off the dogs at halftime.
That'd be nice.
Yeah, it'll be fine. We wanted to do kind of it's week 8, so it's like mid-season report card, kind of check in on some things we thought would happen or wouldn't happen or whatever. A couple of things on that. For one, it felt very tedious to me, and 2, I didn't actually want to talk about how wrong I was about all the things. So in lieu of that, a couple of ideas here.
Okay.
First of which, if the college football playoff were today, because you went on this whole thing last week or the week before about how you hate rankings, there should be no rankings, we shouldn't do rankings until when? Week 8, week 9?
I don't want preseason rankings.
So when do they start?
Week 1. You can start them after week 1. Because we've seen everybody play at least. Because then we're basing it at least on, okay, I saw that team play. Texas A&M was still in the rankings as of last week at like 3-2 with 2 not great losses. And the only reason they were is because they were ranked so high preseason.
Yeah, you don't even want to get me started on A&M.
So you're guessing. This isn't like, college wrestling, preseason rankings. It's based off last year's results.
Sure.
And like literally these guys are coming back. Like it's the same people.
Yeah.
In football, it's much different where you have all kinds of guys go to the NFL. You have guys transfer. You have new recruits in. Lineups completely different.
Yeah.
Let's wait. Like, why don't we just – I know, and I get it. There's nothing to talk about then. And
it's a talking season, man.
I know, I should be all on board with that, being this is a content company.
They're going to have to pass legislation that prohibits media companies from putting out a preseason poll. Otherwise – you're never going to get everybody to quit.
The media companies can do it. I guess what I'm saying is just like the AP and coaches poll. Like, let's wait a week. And then you get goofy number ones. Like Auburn would have been number 1 after week 1. It would have been fun. I don't know. It's just
you just ruined your own point. Auburn number 1.
They beat Oregon. They had the best win week 1.
That's true.
That's why I said they would be number 1.
It's very dynamic ranking.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
All right. Well, I don't know about that, but what I do know about is I'm going to give you the opportunity right now to rank. If the college football playoff, I was going to do top 5, and then I was like, it's kind of a cop-out because, like, 4-5 is the hard part.
Right.
Well, at least it will be at the end of the year. Right now, like 6-7, you can make an argument, but I think that we should cut it at 4. College football playoff is being played on Saturday, and Mark Emmert knocks on our door, and he says, guys, we don't know who to put in. We need you to pick the 4. There's nobody else in the world that's up to the challenge.
I'll help him.
Well, okay. I hope, because he knocked on your door and he asked you to do it. So,
all right. 1 seed. Go Tigers. LSU.
We have that in common.
They have 2 very good wins on the road to Texas and at home to Florida, who I think is better than we both thought they were going to be.
Yep, that would have been on my list of things I definitely got wrong.
Yeah. I mean, I thought they'd still be in the rankings at the end of the year, but I didn't think that they'd be where they are now and even pushing LSU into the 3rd and 4th quarter. Here's where it kind of gets tricky. I'm gonna go Ohio State too. And
okay.
I know they have not played the best schedule, but when you just watch them, you're like, that team is really good.
Yeah, on both sides.
And I think they're gonna do that to everybody they play this year and run the table. 3, I'm gonna go with Oklahoma. They have a good win over Texas.
Mm-hmm.
The defense is 10 times better than it's been the past 2 years, and those were 2 playoff teams with a Heisman Trophy winner and New York, the quarterback again this year. Guess what? He's going to be a finalist in New York. So I'm going with Oklahoma.
Okay.
4, Alabama. They don't have a fantastic win on the year, but the offense might even be better than it was last year. And then now the defense is giving up more points, but I don't know if that doesn't really concern me. And you might be asking where Clemson is. Well, the scare to North Carolina doesn't look so great when you compare it to these four teams' resumes right now.
Sure, agreed.
No other team has that scare.
Who was your 5 that got
Clemson
bumped out? Clemson at 5?
Yeah.
So I like you have LSU number 1.
Mm-hmm.
Joe Brady has created the offense that LSU always wished that they had. And the defense has not been the LSU defense that we're used to seeing, but I think I said this before. I think so much of that is tempo. Because when you're running that many plays and you're scoring that quick, and they have this big play offense now, the concession that you have to make is on the defensive side of the ball. The more plays that are run, the more opportunity there is for you to say, well, whoops, missed an assignment, that guy scored. It's literally math. Yeah. So you're never going to have a team that scores 50 a game and the defense doesn't give up anything. It just doesn't work that way.
How about in their game against Florida, they averaged 10 yards a play. That's the most ever in SEC history.
Great stat. I almost led with that one. I almost did. Yeah, but I thought we already started the show with a Burrow stat. It was loosely tied to him. Didn't want to go down that road. And also, I ran the Jalen thing back 2 weeks in a row and became the Jalen Hurts show. So
LSU's not supposed to be able to do that.
No,
but they are.
They're not, but now they are, and that's really bad news for everybody, including Alabama, who they've had their number forever, but it's easy to have their number when you know they're not going to score an offensive touchdown. So LSU at number 1. I've been most impressed with them of any team this year.
Yep.
Oklahoma at number 2, the best offense in the country, now has a defense they can be proud of.
They have a better win than Ohio State right now.
Trey Sermon didn't get a touch against Texas.
Why?
He was on the field for the second most snaps of any running back, but he never got a touch.
That's pretty weird.
And Lincoln just said, well, we have a million awesome running backs, and it just didn't ever work out in the pace of the game where we handed it to Trey. It wasn't on purpose. That's how deep they are. That's how deep they are at running back.
I hate
a guy
who
ran
happens.
for 900 yards last year and likely started the game. I don't know if it was him or Brooks, but I think he started the game. Second most snaps, no touches, because they're too busy giving it to all their other awesome playmakers.
He should come be with Austin Kendall.
Come to the WVU?
Uh-huh.
Okay. And CeeDee Lamb, 10 catches, 3 touchdowns in the Texas game. He was invisible the 3 weeks before that.
Neil Brown said he's the best receiver in the country.
He is.
So
I asked him that at Big 12 Media Day, and he told me, yes, I am.
He did. You're right.
So Oklahoma, number 2. Number 3, Ohio State.
Mm-hmm.
You already covered it. Fields of Electric. Ryan Day's picked up where Urban Meyer left off. Ohio State is right there with LSU as one of the more impressive of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Audible just came to me.
Okay.
Alabama, number 3.
All right.
They were going to be 4. Bama 3. Because I don't really have a good reason for it. Tua's Tua. They have like 5 NFL wide receivers. They look great. I don't know if I'm just tired of Alabama or what, but I don't know. I just don't like them at number 1. But also, I don't want to be overreactive.
Mm-hmm.
And double also, most importantly, I'm working on storylines. I want the Bama OU semifinal.
Yeah.
And if I put OU too, the only way that they're playing Bama is either in the semifinal or the final. Do I want to take a chance that Bama's going to lose to LSU and I'm not going to get that storyline? No. No. Actually, I don't. I'm going to get Alabama, Oklahoma in the semi, and I'm going to number 4. Let's go Ohio State there.
Okay.
And that way we get the Ohio State LSU run back of the worst national championship game I've ever watched. 2008, 2-loss LSU wins the national championship after Ted Ginn runs a kickoff back and then sprains his own ankle in the end zone when his teammates tackle him.
That game was really ugly.
That was the game, right? Ginn sprained his ankle in the end zone.
It might have been the Florida one.
Damn it.
That one was really ugly too because Florida just kicked their ass. That was the year West Virginia should have won the national title.
You're right. Yeah, you're right about that. All right. Edit that part out too.
Everyone's going to be so confused.
Yeah, okay, great. That was a good job by us.
Is Clemson your first team out?
Oh, yeah, first team out. No. Wisconsin.
Okay.
Yeah, and I mean, like you said, basing it on what we've seen so far, Clemson's look really shaky. Trevor Lawrence hasn't looked that interested in what he's doing. It's also not really their fault because the ACC just doesn't really give them much opportunity to look awesome.
It's not their fault at all.
And you schedule A&M, you expect that to be a high-profile non-conference game. It was high-ish profile, but not exactly what you're looking for if you're Clemson, because A&M is just kind of meh.
The South Carolina game did just get more interesting, though.
Absolutely, it did.
Yeah, maybe don't schedule Charlotte and Wofford either. But hey, who am I?
Coffee grounds in the bottom of my coffee cup.
That's a good question. Starbucks.
I'm gonna need a little more from you, Starbucks.
Got him simping.
I'm not gonna put brand placement on the table here if you're gonna put coffee grounds in my mouth.
Wisconsin would be 6 for me. Yeah. No, what they're doing right now on defense is pretty unprecedented.
Well, 2 things with them every week. They're gonna dominate the hell out of whoever they're playing, and Jonathan Taylor, tailback, is gonna run for 400 yards. That's pretty good.
He needs to be getting more Heisman talk. I said it.
I agree, but it's not a year for we're going to get in so much trouble for going over time here, but it's all right. It's not a year for a traditional tailback to win the Heisman.
No, it's not.
You need a down quarterback year for a player like Taylor because he's incredible. But all he's going to do is the same thing he did the last 2 years, which is run for 2,000 yards. Ho-hum.
Yeah.
But when you got Tua and Jalen, and then saying nothing for Joey Burrow.
Yeah.
Where do you go from there?
I don't know.
I'll tell you where. You go to New York and you sit your ass in that 4th chair and then you clap for the winner.
You get your nice little profile, and then they interview,
that's a nice
your
piece.
Parents.
You get to go to New York City.
Yeah.
Is it where do they have it? The Heisman Touchdown Club?
Yeah.
You know what it's called?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Cover 4.
Cover 4. All right. Last week, I went 2-1. I did have one loss.
I stopped keeping track.
The stupid Virginia game. That was a poop game.
I don't understand anything about what happened there.
That was a dumb game. What are you doing, Virginia? Okay.
We forgot our Where in the World is Tate Martell segment.
Oh, yeah.
But I tell you where he wasn't. On the field against Virginia.
Field. He didn't play a snap, yeah. So, he was on the sideline.
I don't know what's up with Virginia, dude. Every time I'm ready to be like, yep, Virginia, they're the real thing.
I'm not sure they want to be good.
I don't think they want to be great.
Yeah.
They want to be, let's fly just beneath the radar good. That way there's no pressure, 8 or 9 wins.
Maybe they're not trying to go to the ACC championship game and play Clemson.
Also not a bad strategy.
But they should realize this isn't last year's Clemson team.
I wonder if Virginia could upset. You know what? That's a story for another day. You went 2-1 last week. What are you doing
2-1 last week. Shout out to Tennessee and their orange britches. I don't know if you saw that clip of the kid, the Tennessee player. They're like walking out to the field because they wore all orange.
Yeah.
Wore orange pants. And he's literally just screaming like in the tunnel, "Orange britches! Orange britches!" So that was cool. And then they went out and won outright.
Is that a tweet?
Yeah.
Efren, can you find that tweet?
Yeah, orange britches. Just search orange britches, you'll find it.
Yes, sir. Them orange britches. Something about them orange britches.
So we'll start State College, Pennsylvania. Penn State -9 against Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
It's the whiteout game that they always do. College game day is going to be there.
Yep.
Michigan is going to get ran off the field. Embarrassed.
Wow.
Yeah. Harbaugh is absolutely awful as an underdog, especially on the road against a ranked team. And this is what did you watch the Illinois game? They're up like 28-0.
No.
And then Illinois scored
I have not watched Michigan play since halftime in the Wisconsin game.
Then they gave up like 25 unanswered. We're literally up 28-25 and then scored like 14 more to make it look like they dominated the game, but they really didn't. And I don't know. They're just not. They should be much better than they are. Their players are too good to be playing what they're doing right now.
Agreed.
But this is just based on what has happened with Harbaugh in the past at Michigan. It's not going to go well. Penn State by a lot.
Penn State by a million. I'm going to lay the 5 with Florida on the road at South Carolina. I just like them. For one thing, I was more impressed with Florida in a loss on Saturday than I have been in any of their wins. And this is a team that before the year started, which one top 10 team is going to finish the year unranked?
Yep.
Florida was my pick. I don't know, man. The quarterback spot, I'm not super confident in either guy.
Yeah.
Like, Emory Jones makes some throws where I'm like, whoa, dude. That was okay. Trask is like, I'm not going to do anything really dumb, but I'm also not going to do anything really awesome.
Yeah.
But with that defense, if you have the I'm not going to do anything dumb or awesome guy, that works. And if you sprinkle in Emory and make some big plays here and there, that's fine too.
You also factor in who is going to play quarterback for South Carolina.
Listen, man. DeCarrion Joyner's my friend.
I didn't say. I asked who was going to play.
DeCarrion Joyner.
Okay.
As far as I know. Unless Olinsky's back.
No, I watching him walk around Saturday, I would say he's probably not going to be
Probably
back.
not back.
Yeah.
Yeah, DeCarrion. Didn't go awesome.
It didn't go awesome. I know that's a tough spot to be thrown into. And Muschamp said he was even banged up and didn't practice much during the week.
You gotta wonder how your third-team quarterback gets banged up.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. That's what he said in the post-game interview.
All right.
I don't know. Obviously Joyner being a quarterback is more beneficial to Florida than Olinsky.
Yeah. Look, man. I mean, I don't really care which quarterback it is because I think the Florida defense is that impressive. And then somebody's gonna go, they gave up 42 to LSU. Okay.
Everybody's giving up 42 to LSU
right.
right now.
It was 28 all in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Shut up. Their defense has been great. Offensively, they're good enough. South Carolina coming off a huge win, super high.
Yeah.
It's South Carolina, so inevitably they have to follow
It
a
will
high
fail.
with a low.
Yes.
They just because they can't stay here. That's not South Carolina football. Yeah, I think Florida goes in, takes care of business.
I like that
I
one.
think they win relatively easily.
Yeah. So I went against him last week because of orange bridges.
Them orange britches.
But this week, I'm riding with Mississippi State.
Oh,
At home, getting 17. Do you know who they're playing?
SEC.
Number 1 LSU in our
Yeah.
poll.
You're going.
A
Wow.
big emotional game, as we were just talking about. And now Mississippi State, that's like what just happened is rock bottom. Losing to 1-4 Tennessee
Dude, I just don't think they're that good.
on Rocky Top is rock bottom.
I don't think they're that good.
They might not be that good, but I don't think they're going to lose by 17. I just think last week took a lot out of LSU is what I'm getting at.
Okay, that's
And
fair.
then Mississippi State's like, after that Tennessee game, you're like, God, that was disgusting. We hate ourselves. We have to play better. Like,
we're the worst.
yes, but they're going to be like anxious to get back out there.
All right.
And so it's like a 15-point game, 14-point game.
Far be it from me to disagree with you, given our
Like
the run that we're on the last few
a
weeks.
24-10 type of deal, maybe.
24-10.
Yeah.
You're telling me Joey Burrow and that offense are scoring 24.
Okay, like 31-17.
All right.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
I'm going to stay in the state of Louisiana, speaking of LSU,
Okay.
for my other team for the cover 4, and also it's going to double as my very good dog. Tulane is getting 4 at Memphis. Tulane's awesome. Like can I make that announcement officially? Tulane is awesome.
They're great. And every uniform they wear is also awesome.
Also awesome.
Yeah.
Their only loss is at Auburn, in a game that they put up a pretty good fight for the majority of it.
Yes, they did.
And I'm not saying anything negative about Memphis. I just think Tulane is the class of the group of 5, right there with SMU and Boise State.
Mm-hmm.
So I will gladly take the 4 points at Memphis. But not only will I take the 4 points, I think Tulane wins the game outright.
I love it. So they are your very good dog as well.
Yes. The only
They
trouble
double as
Tulane
both.
has right now is just figuring out how to keep Willie Fritz.
Yeah, seriously.
Because what they have is actually a sustainable model where Tulane can continue this this build toward becoming the UCF of the group of 5, the Boise of the group of 5. But it's all going to come crashing down if they lose Fritz. And given the openings that are probably going to be out there at the end of the year.
Will. Okay. So my very good dog. I'm going to go with Charlotte getting 9 against Western Kentucky.
Interesting.
I know Western Kentucky just somehow beat Army.
They did.
I don't understand that. This sport is weird.
It's a weird sport.
Um,
Western Kentucky's key to victory is holding a game at 20 and below.
yes.
If
yes.
20 is the magic number to win, they're there.
Do you remember week 1? They lost to Central Arkansas.
I remember it well.
That happened.
And I laughed at them because their fan base, not my favorite.
But they have won 4 games since then. And as you mentioned, if they scored 20 points and that's it.
I know. I looked at their thing earlier and I was
Three
like,
straight
wow.
games, they scored 20 points and won. Well, guess what? Charlotte's coming to town, and they're the 49ers. And they're going
So far,
to
I'm sold.
dig up some gold, and they're going to win. They're winning outright.
Quite a case made there
Yeah.
for Charlotte. I'm with you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that Will Healy? Is that where he's at?
Charlotte?
Yeah,
I don't know.
I think.
We don't have the 49ers on Flo.
I know that. Where's the coaching staff at? Gosh, this is ridiculous. Will Healy, yeah.
Boom. Nailed it.
Boom.
All right. Charlotte.
Go Will.
Go Niners. I think we should probably get to our next segment before Blakeman kicks us out of the studio. And that means it is finally time for
Colonial time.
Colonial time. That was weird. That's fine.
was
Make
good.
that look good too, Efren. Thank you. Colonial time. JMU is rolling, and road teams continue to stun their host. That is the overarching theme in the CAA through, where are we at now, week 8? Through 7 weeks.
7 weeks,
That's
yeah.
the prevailing theme, I think, from week to week.
Crazy.
JMU, obviously, last week, they have Villanova in the house. Biggest FCS game, maybe of the season, definitely of the week. Villanova jumps out to a lead 24-17 into the second half, and all JMU does is what they always do, which is
Win.
find a way to win.
Yep, they get the big pick 6 from MJ Hamilton, and then another stop, and then a score, and that was the icing on the cake.
It's their third straight victory over a ranked opponent, so it's kind of becoming old hat for them.
Oh, for sure.
And you almost keep waiting for somebody to have that, because it's not – teams have played with JMU now for 3 quarters. It's that fourth quarter where JMU just has the killer instinct to close out a game, and they've yet to come up against somebody who can go toe-to-toe with them in that final period.
Yeah, and, I mean, they've been the team to beat in the CAA for a long time, and
Ain't for no
it's
reason.
going to be no different this year.
You're right about the pick 6. It was 24-all even at that point.
Yep.
Nova's going in.
And Nova was on, like, the 25-yard line.
They're driving.
Yep.
Tough spot there for our man Daniel Smith to throw it to the wrong color shirt. But he did just that, and JMU ran away from Villanova. Look, I was also impressed with Villanova.
For sure.
Just like I was impressed with Stony Brook for hanging in there with JMU. Ben Danucci threw for 216 yards and 3 touchdowns for JMU. 216, not a crazy total. But, again, it was the running game that was the difference for JMU in that game. Latrell Palmer, career high 103 on 6 carries. I can't get the features assigned on the JMU running backs fast enough because every week there's a new guy who pops up and flashes, and you're like, oh, my God, who's that?
Can you imagine if you're trying to play fantasy football and you have one of the
They're the
JMU
Patriots,
running backs?
dude. They're the worst. No,
Yeah.
thank you. So, yeah, I mean, Nova, obviously, opposite style coming in. They lean on one back. That one back was Justin Covington. Now Justin Covington's out for the rest of the year.
Yeah, I really hate to see it. The second CAA back with Shane Simpson that has suffered a torn ACL and is really going to take a toll on that team. Yeah, absolutely hate to see it, and hopefully Villanova can find an answer there.
Yeah, I mean, it's always tough at this level to lose a player that good. And we saw it with Towson. They've looked a lot different since Shane went out. You hope that Nova doesn't look that much different without Covington, but God, he's a good player. My question is, with Covington now out, and obviously Simpson out at Towson, what we thought we knew about the CAA preseason, and then what we thought we knew about the CAA even a week ago, it seems like it continues to change. My question to you, is there anybody in the league, as we head into week 8, that can take the conference championship away for JMU? It's very much theirs to lose at this point.
I'm not sure that there is. Maybe when you look at who's catching fire right now, and that's New Hampshire. They start 0-2. It looks like it's going to be a rough year. Coach McDonald dealing with his health issues, and Ricky Santos stepping up, and then all of a sudden, boom, they've won 4 in a row. And you look at the way the schedule sets up. You have Delaware, or you're on the road at Delaware this week. I don't know who's going to be playing quarterback for the Blue Hens. Nolan Henderson left the game with what looked like, obviously, a head injury.
Yeah, it's going to be Keogh.
Yeah, and that didn't go so well against Elon. So, and then you have Villanova and JMU in back-to-back weeks. So that kind of, in my opinion, that's the team that can do this. But I don't know if they're up to the challenge that JMU is.
The toughest thing about it is, agreed. But not only that, now it's not enough for a Villanova or an Albany or a Richmond to run the table. Because if you run the table with the one loss, you're going to need JMU to fall a second time.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in the case of Richmond, they've got JMU head-to-head. They basically have got everything in front of them. So the question becomes then, do you think that Richmond has something for JMU, or are we just trying to find a storyline here?
I think we might be reaching for a storyline a little bit.
Feels that way.
I like the Richmond defense. I don't know if the offense can do enough against that JMU defense to keep them in the game. That's the biggest thing for me with that.
Sure. Well, one thing I can say, 5 teams again in the top 25, yet again. I think 5 more receiving votes. CAA race notwithstanding, they're basically 3/4 of the league still with a playoff shot.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
You mentioned New Hampshire. They're red hot. They have an opportunity at Delaware this week. Nolan Henderson not going to play. So that this morning the 2 deep came out. It's got Keogh atop the depth chart. Henderson will not play. They got to bounce back from a rough showing last week at Elon. And a couple other teams that really I think have an outside shot at making some noise, and one of them might surprise you. But Albany. Obviously, everybody's been very impressed with them. Great quarterback play, really good on the outside. Rhode Island's not dead yet.
No.
Rhode Island is not dead yet. If you watch them play Virginia Tech, you saw an offense that really had its way with the Hokies for the better part of the game. The final score doesn't necessarily reflect what the game actually looked like. There were multiple times that the Rhode Island offense would get down near that red area on the field and then kind of balk down, go to field goals. Some breaks on the part of Virginia Tech, quite frankly, but impressed with the quarterback play, impressed with the wide receivers. Aaron Parker and Isaiah Coulter pretty much had their way with Virginia Tech in that game. And then on the other side, again, with Albany, it's Juwan Green and Gerard Reeves.
That game should be a lot of fun. It's the 2 best passing offenses in the CAA, and 2 quarterbacks that like to sling it around. They're really good wide receivers. And you mentioned Rhode Island. They're 1-5 on the year. 2 of the losses are to Power 5 teams on the road at Ohio.
Absolutely.
On the road to Virginia Tech. And then the other losses to Stony Brook, 31-27 on a touchdown in the final 15 seconds.
Frankly, I believe Stony Brook is the second best team in the CAA right now.
Yeah.
With Covington out, I think they are the second best team in the league, toe-to-toe.
And then New Hampshire by 3, Delaware by 8 in triple overtime.
That's what I'm saying.
They're right there with every single team
they could
play.
very easily have a much different story right now.
Yep.
And the fact of the matter is there's enough conference play left ahead of us. If URI can get right, they're right there for a playoff berth too, despite you look at their record and you think that they're probably cooked. And I would even go as far as to say, given the way that everything is played out in the CAA all year long, road teams picking up wins in spots you don't expect, a team gets ranked, they look really hot, and then what happens? New Hampshire not included because they just keep winning. The team gets hot, we start talking about them, and then ultimately they have a trip up. I think it's a really tough spot for Albany coming off an emotional victory, and then you've got Rhode Island coming to play you kind of like Rhode Island.
Yeah.
I think I might go as far as to say that URI goes ahead and gets the upset win.
That's a sneaky spot to be in.
Easy for you to say.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, the CAA race, the playoff race, it's all heating up. You know where to find all the action. FloFootball.com, the Flo Sports app. Yet again this week, we've got a great lineup of games. We've got New Hampshire and Delaware, live on Flo. We got Rhode Island and UAlbany, live on Flo. We got JMU and William and Mary. Where's that at?
Live on Flo.
What about Bucknell and Towson?
That's live on Flo.
Also live on Flo. And Yale versus Richmond,
live
on Flo.
Yep, that one's Saturday night.
That was going to be a good one. I'm very excited about that one. My Spiders are really stepping up for me right now. Much appreciated. So, yeah, we're making this really easy on you. All the content's on FloFootball.com. We have awesome features coming out all week from Roger Brown, Kyle Kinsing, and the boys. Again, All the games are live. If you haven't used the app, I highly recommend it. You just flip
So
through
easy, yeah.
from one game to the next. It's the only place that you can keep up with all of the CAA, easy for me to say, CAA action across the board. And, you know, if you like computers, you can always just open your laptop, go to FloFootball.com. Kyle and I are going to work on talking for the rest of the day, and we'll be back for more next week. We should definitely get out of here because we are way over time, and no one has kicked us out yet, which is really nice of everyone involved here. Is there anything that we forgot to mention on today's show?
I don't think so. We hit a lot of stuff, but it was a good show.
We did hit a lot of stuff. Thanks for talking me into doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for eventually showing up.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Let the people know the key to running the bootleg.
It's doing it naked.
It is indeed.